Hello, Warlords and Generals. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. I want to talk about the Brettonian reveal for Warhammer Old World, which is GW re-releasing the old Warhammer Fantasy battles in a more modern format. And I want to discuss not only their release, but the possibility of an army like Brettonia being added into Age of Sigmar. Without further ado, let's begin the discussion. So GW put up on their Warhammer community page a post about the Brettonians and like basically covering their basics for Old World, which I'm personally excited for because Brettonia is one of my favorite factions from old Warhammer Fantasy battles. It's usually them, Tomb Kings, Vampire Accounts, or Lizardmen because I just love them all. And they revealed the map, who is king during the time, because this all takes place like several hundred years before the timeline when they decided to end Warhammer Fantasy battles. So Karl Franz is not emperor. I forget who is currently emperor. I believe this takes place shortly after the War of the Three Emperors, I believe it's called, though I do not know off the top of my head. The king of this time is King Luen Orcslayer, which is defending his kingdom from one of the biggest and largest orc invasions of Brettonia since the days of, I'm going to try to pronounce this as best I can, Gilles de Breton. It's French, and I'm not very good at French, so I apologize if I butchered that pronunciation, but he was the founder of Brettonia, and he was the one who created the Grail Knights through the blessing of the Lady of the Lake. And this is why I personally am excited to see Brettonia make a comeback, because I love knights and I am such a big armor file. I am so excited to see cavalry, armor heavy human army make a comeback to the fantasy setting of any of the Warhammer names. And I really want to see it in Age of Sigmar, because as of now, all we got are Demigryph Knights and Pistoliers. I believe Outriders, but I'm not sure. I think just Pistoliers exist for now for Cities of Sigmar. And it made me really sad to learn that there were no new knight models for humans releasing with the new Cities of Sigmar book about a year or two ago. On that note, though, we are still at least a year or two out from seeing any models or armies for Old World, and I'm hoping they launch with at least like 4 human factions, and then like maybe 2 or 3 chaos undead, whatever you want to say, just basically non-humans, like orc, elves, whatever. But I'm really happy to see that Brettonia and Kislev will be among the first human factions to have new armies for Old World. Probably on top of the Empire, because the Renaissance and gunpowder aesthetic wasn't just awesome for me, it was really popular and well done back in the day. So I'm really excited to kind of see where we go from here in terms of the new human factions we'll be getting for Old World. And there are a few other like notes on the article about the High Elf outpost reveals, which means that their next reveal for it could be High Elves. But I want to just skip over that because I want to use this as a bridge to talk about an army like Brettonia making its way into Age of Sigmar. Because as of now, there are a few cavalry armies, but like to my knowledge, Slaves to Darkness and Lumineth are the only horse-based cavalry that we really have. Daughters to Cain too, but they're not heavy. They're very light, even if they are decent. Now, I know the Flesh Eater courts are kind of memed on for being like Brettonia of the Age of Sigmar setting, since they see themselves as a very noble and chivalrous faction doing nothing but defending the weak and protecting their lands, when in reality they're monstrous cannibals just eating whatever they can come across. But like legitimately, I would love it if they could do like a slight retcon of end times and make it so that Brettonia and the Lady of Lake actually did survive, and that we got an army kind of like the Legions of the Damned from Warhammer 40,000, and we got like knights that just appeared out of nowhere, defeated enemies of order, and then just left without saying a word. These like mysterious mix of heavy cavalry with like the idea of the Seraphon in Age of Sigmar, at least the celestial bounce Seraphon. Now, obviously, you could make them like bound to the wind of heaven, but then like Sigmar would have known about them and been using them this whole time, right? So yeah, I think binding them to or connecting them to heavens or light, even though it would fit them aesthetically, it wouldn't make a ton of sense in lore. So I actually think it'd be better if they were based on like probably like shadow or light rather than heavens, so that they can just like pop up, do their thing, and then leave, and then Sigmar can still be like, I don't know what's going on with these guys. I don't know who they are or why they're doing what they're doing, but they're human and they keep helping me. So I want to contact them, but I can't because they keep moving around and they're very mysterious. And I think that could add a lot of layer and depth to the story and intrigue of a new knight-based army, since like I think it really is something that we need in the game, because I get that Age of Sigmar is like hyper fantasy, where a lot of Tolkien-based fantasy really isn't advertised or marketed on, but like we need just a touch of it. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on Brettonia. I'm really glad to see the Knights of Breton make a return, and I hope to personally play them in Old World for the lady and all that. I want to know all y'all thoughts, though, on my theory with Brettonia and idea for Age of Sigmar. If you want to continue this discussion, please leave a comment, and please hit a like if you enjoyed this video. I like to do small discussions like this based on just kind of random snippets of information or just articles, so I'm going to try to do this more in the future. If you'd like to see more content from me, please subscribe. I try to upload at least once a week, though I am quite busy. And thank you for listening. Happy wargaming and have a wonderful day.